Hello and welcome to another edition of For the Record. I'm Sean Murphy. My guests today are the fine folks from the Connecticut Children's Medical Center and Foundation. In our first segment, it's Dr. Fernando Ferrar, the Surgeon-in-Chief, first time on the show, so we welcome you to the show.
Welcome, Sean. Nice to be here.
Tell us about the Connecticut Children's Medical Center. This is a big deal. Everybody's excited about it. Tell us about it.
Connecticut Children's Medical Center is the only freestanding children's hospital in the state of Connecticut. Its purpose is solely to take care of kids. So everything about us, from the minute you walk in the door to you walk out, is geared towards children. The atmosphere, the environment, the facilities, all designed to make the experience for kids as positive as possible, also while as safe as possible, and simultaneously delivering the highest quality of pediatric-specific care. We don't treat adults.
How is it that there are a lot of great hospitals in the state of Connecticut? How is it that there was never a hospital strictly for kids until now?
You know, the reality is that Connecticut Children's Medical Center existed previously as Newington Children's Hospital.
Okay.
And it was a hospital that was, while provided some general services, really focused on orthopedic and spinal anomalies in children. While that's still an area of expertise for us, the mission's broadened considerably, and really now we represent all of the specialties. But the history of the institution goes back quite a ways as being a substantial provider in this region for children's care.
So is it in the same location, basically name change, or how does that?
No, it moved from Newington right into Hartford, Connecticut on Washington Street. We thought that that location would be optimally for being able to serve those children that most needed us. Simultaneously, though, I would say to you that we have a rather expansive satellite network, which includes 5 ambulatory care centers in all areas of the state, as far south as Fairfield, Connecticut, and certainly in the western part of the state as well. We have active relationships going on with institutions there, such as Danbury Hospital, so on and so forth.
But, you know, if you need to go to Hartford, I mean, it's boom. It's a straight shot up the highway. It's right there. The convenience factor. I mean, they even have fast-track buses that are going right to the city now.
It's incredibly easy to get there. You get right off of 84. The exit that you get off on, you drive essentially up the street, and you're there. It's well signed and well lit.
Now, it's not only a hospital for children, but it's also a teaching hospital, too?
Correct. It's a critical resource in that it is the primary teaching site for the University of Connecticut School of Medicine. So all of the medical students from the University of Connecticut, the resident physicians, and fellows learning subspecialty care in pediatrics trained there. So it's an incredible academic and intellectual resource as well.
People should understand that just because it's a teaching hospital doesn't mean that your children are going to be treated by someone who may not have the knowledge to take care of the problem, right?
No. You know, as a matter of fact, while it's generally believed that really excellent care is available at teaching hospitals just because of the attention to detail and the large number of eyes that are on everything that happens, at the Children's Hospital, the care is provided, you know, primarily by the attending physicians, as is always the case.
Now, we talked about hospitals in general for adults and children, and I asked how come there hasn't been one. Even though there has been a children's hospital, why is there a need for a children's hospital specifically? What is it about what they have needs for?
Yeah, the reality is that the diseases that children have, whether they be congenital diseases or acquired diseases, are distinctly different. Today, in most specialties, there is a separate recognition and certification to be a pediatric provider. So, for example, while you might be an orthopedic surgeon, or you might be a general surgeon, or you might be a cardiologist, you're not actually specifically trained to take care of children unless you've completed years of subspecialized training in that area. So as medicine has evolved, treatments have become more specific. It's become increasingly important to be pediatric certified. Then you get into other issues, the environment, the ability to take a child through an uncomfortable procedure and have an environment that's unique to them with people, whether they be child life specialists, psychologists, or even psychiatrists, to help support them. That's something you don't commonly find in an adult hospital setting. So it is a very, very different environment.
It's interesting that you say that, and I agree. In our neck of the woods here where we're taping, one of the hospitals built there a cancer center, and they took a lot of input from patients in designing the facility, just like I would imagine a lot of input was given,
Right.
just even to be able to look outside and
Right.
see trees, things like that make a difference.
Yeah, the environment itself is very colorful. It's a very modern building. It's designed to be convenient for families. Families have the ability to stay in the room overnight with children. There's bedding for them there. The fact of the matter is that we have a very active relationship with parents who serve as advisors to us. These are not people, these are people whose children have actually been cared for by us that we then enlist to help us make ourselves better and more appealing and comforting for families.
You're really talking about psychology a lot, aren't you?
Yeah.
When all the stuff you mentioned, being able to
Right.
take cues from the parents and allow them to be there, all this, and I would imagine the psyche of individuals, children and parents, aids in the ability of healing, if nothing else.
It's really important. The fact of the matter is what we don't want to have is a child who we've cured of a disease but traumatized in some way that they're going to carry that forward. The other factor is that as these kids get older, they also need us again because many of the diseases that we're treating now also have implications for adulthood. And as adults, typically adult specialists are not facile or familiar with those diseases either. So the patients really come to us beyond normal childhood, beyond age 18 frequently, to seek care, ongoing care for these conditions which have lifelong impacts.
So if they're directly connected, if they've been there in the past, then they can actually continue to come back as
They do.
adults.
They
That's
do.
interesting, yeah.
They do.
And I would imagine parents also feel more comfortable knowing a children's hospital specializes in, like you said, specialty of children. It's not like not that there's anything wrong with hospitals, but they're treating everybody and
Correct.
all ages, all,
Correct.
everything that's
Right.
going on.
One of the most important things that I tell families is in an instance when your child needs to have a procedure, not only do you want a pediatric specialist and performing that procedure or giving you that consultation in the case of a medical condition, but think about it. Who would you want doing your child's anesthesia? We have certified pediatric anesthesiologists that really do nothing largely but handle children. It's an expertise that takes years to develop, and it's practiced every day by these folks. They're not, occasionally doing a child. It's a very different environment.
Before we get to a lot of the great research you're doing, I just want to talk about some of the things that children are coming in for more frequently these days. What's going on?
The nature of child care in hospitals is changing a little bit. We've actually gotten very good at some things. For example, if you looked historically, kids oftentimes came in with upper respiratory tract infections, and they came in with asthma attacks. As we've gotten better and better at treating asthma and vaccines has gotten better, we see less of that. That's not to say that we don't have seasonal illness, and we're getting into the busy seasonal illness period now with RSV virus, so on and so forth. But the fact of the matter is that what we're seeing more and more of is the higher end, should I say, tertiary quaternary congenital anomalies. These are children born with various abnormalities that might affect multiple organ systems. And we're able to deliver, whether it be cardiac care, gastrointestinal care, various aspects of surgical care, we're able to deliver sort of that broad plate of specialists, if you would, that allows a parent that has a child that has an abnormality that affects multiple organ systems to get all of their care in one place with highly specialized and frequently nationally recognized physicians.
Is there any one big thing this year that the media jumps on, like an influenza strain or anything like that we should be aware of?
Yeah, we all lived through that in the last couple of years. To date, that candidate illness has not surfaced yet, and we hope that the vaccine this year will cover all of the illness.
And even more of an issue for children, especially with an impaired immune system or something, right?
Right. We take incredible precautions. Some time ago, we were one of the first in the state to require that all of our employees receive the flu vaccine.
While I have a doctor on the show, whenever this comes up, I always ask to have you put somehow squelch the rumor that a flu shot is a bad thing. It can cause the flu or
Yeah, that's one of those tragic misconceptions or misinformation that's conveyed. That is not the case at all. The links between the flu shot and other processes are have not scientifically held up. upon great scrutiny. And the fact of the matter is that one of the best things that you can do to protect your family, yourself, is get a flu shot.
I didn't get a flu shot for the longest time, not necessarily because I believe that stuff, just because I just didn't get one. And then I started getting one, and nothing bad happened.
Nothing bad
Yeah,
happens.
nothing bad happened at all.
It's not protective from every bad event in life, but
right.
it's certainly not going to cause certain problems that have appeared in the media.
Tell me, talk to me about the tasks and the jobs and the responsibilities of the surgeon-in-chief.
The surgeon-in-chief is responsible for the performance of the overall surgical enterprise of the institution. So my responsibilities really are to the faculty and to the children, making sure that we have the appropriate complement of faculty, that our programs are robust, well-developed, have the appropriate quality and safety measures, also ensuring that the environment of care is appropriate, and that some of our critical programs like our trauma program, which is a sort of a 24/7 sentinel for all children in the region, are performing at the highest level. Additionally, I'm responsible for the, how shall we say, the education.
You're the dean.
Yeah, for the education of the residents and fellows. And we have several fellowships and residency programs that are training the doctors of the future. And also we have a quite robust surgical research enterprise that's looking not just to take care of the kids today, but also design the treatments of the future for these children.
Give me something that you're really excited about for the future. It could be in research or anything with the medical center. What's really got you going right now?
You know, recently we have made great strides in our cardiac surgery program, and we have also developed the capability on campus to perform ECMO, which is extracorporeal membrane oxygenation. It's a life-supporting measure for children, oxygenating their blood when they can't themselves. And I'm incredibly enthusiastic about the growth that I've seen in our heart program. We've been successful in recruiting heart surgeons that are really spectacular. Their outcomes are measured on a national scale versus a national database, and their results are exemplary. So I'm really excited about the growth of that program. Our surgical programs in general have grown wildly over the last 5 years. We're performing approximately just under 11,000 operations a year at this point in time in children with an excellent safety record. One of the things that I'm absolutely thrilled about is some of the things that we have going on in research. We have several arms of investigation, from tissue engineering, trying to create lung tissue or esophageal tissue for children born with congenital anomalies, which is led by one of our very talented surgeons, Dr. Christine Fink, to cancer research in the area of pediatric solid tumors, looking at novel therapies, or in conjunction with Jackson Laboratories, looking at genomic approaches. One of the things that I must say I'm absolutely tickled pink by is the fact that we're Children's Hospital in the United States of America right now that really can offer a family whole genome sequencing in the case that their child has a tumor. That's not something that every children's hospital can offer, but as a result of our partnership with Jackson Labs, that is something that we're bringing to the table in a research capacity at this point in time. But we're also looking to move that right into the clinical arena, and that has a lot of promise to change the outcomes for these kids with cancer.
A lot of things to be excited about, for sure.
Yes.
Why don't you give out the website for people to go and learn more?
So if you go to Connecticut Children's, if you type in Connecticut Children's Medical Center on Google, or you go to ConnecticutChildren'sMedicalCenter.org or ConnecticutChildren's.org, it will come up on your web browser and you can check us out.
All right. Dr. Fernando Farrar, Surgeon-in-Chief for Connecticut Children's Medical Center. We learned a lot today, and a pleasure having you on the show, so thank you.
Thank you so much.
We will take a short break and come right back. I'm Sean Murphy. This is For the Record. Stay with us. Welcome back to For the Record. I'm Sean Murphy. My guest for this segment is Doreen Tarascio. She is VP of Donor Relations for the Connecticut Children's Foundation, which is different from the Medical Center in our first segment. First of all, your first time on the show, so welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having us.
Tell us about the Connecticut Children's Foundation.
The foundation, the mission of the foundation is to raise philanthropic funds to support the incredible work that happens each day at the medical center. We do that in a number of different ways. Last year we raised over $12 million.
Wow.
It was a very good year. It was our best year yet. Got to climb the mountain again. Fiscal year started October 1st, so we're looking to raise $15 million this year.
So how do you raise the money?
In a variety of ways. We are very blessed. We have an unbelievable group of donors. We have over 9,000 donors, and those range from corporate partners. The United Technology Corporation made a $1.5 million gift for for their Family Resource Center. And then we have women, grandmothers that have been giving $5 a year to us for the past 30 years to our predecessor, Newington Children's Hospital. We do a lot of events. If you like running or golfing, you could come and support Connecticut Children's just about every weekend throughout the entire event season. We also do, just last week we had our Buy for the Kids, which raises money for our clinical cancer trials. It was a wonderful night. We had 3 chefs from Connecticut and the Hartford area that donated their time and services and made dinner for 200 people.
Now you're talking food. Now you're talking. now we're going to have to go. Now, yeah.
It was delicious. It was a great event.
So it's just a fact of life, obviously, raising money. I want to start with the corporate aspect because, you know, we apparently we're out of our recession now that we were in. Obviously, was it difficult during those times to raise money, even at the corporate level?
It was.
Yeah.
It was. And then you're right, we are seeing our corporations coming back to us. Not that they ever left, they just weren't able to give at the same levels that they were. We find with corporations, if they have a fit, a niche, that we can really partner with them better. We just finished our cardiovascular care center. Interestingly enough, that was a family foundation that gave us $1 million, the Vincent J. Dowling family. So it's corporations, it's foundations. We do a lot of work with foundations. We also then have families and individuals that have most likely had a very positive care experience with us. That also transcends to our events. We have a lot of grateful patient families that do events for us. That they're some, unfortunately, are in memory of their children. Most of them are more for they just want to give back for the care they received.
And what better form of PR is there than word of mouth from somebody who had a great experience with the medical center, and they go and they tell somebody else, and it is their way of giving back. You're right. And even, you know, we talked about the corporate donations, but the regular person who gives the small amount, I've always found that even during tough economic times, people are still willing to dig into their pockets. It may be a smaller amount. It may not be at the top of their list of priorities, but they're still willing to give. Absolutely.
And we did find that. On the top of our gift pyramids, the 100,000 plus gifts were a lot more difficult to obtain than the people that were giving at $1,000 and below.
So if you were to describe the mission of the foundation, how would you sum it up?
There's over 320,000 care visits each year to the medical center, and our mission is to make sure that each of those care visits is a very positive outcome for those families. And the only way they're going to be able to have that happen is through philanthropic support. The medical center does a wonderful job with their finances and with the revenue, but they absolutely need the margin of philanthropic support to make those things happen.
Obviously, depending on the time of year, you had mentioned the different events that are going on. We are in the, as we tape this, we're in the fall now. We're getting ready to go into the winter. I don't know if this winter is going to be as tough as the last one was.
I hope not.
I know.
I hope not.
But what are you doing during that time?
That we're prepping.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah. We have
all year round.
All year round. We have 2 real big events that start off in June that kick off our summer event series. Gino Oriama does a golf tournament for us.
Wow.
And then we have a Concorso Ferrari event where we have a great group of really dedicated volunteers that come together. And we had over 10,000 people in West Hartford Center last year looking at 150 exquisite Italian automobiles.
Is that right? Right.
It was really neat.
So it's a variety of different things. It could be a walk one weekend, a golf outing, something indoors, all kinds of different things.
We also have a lot of cause-related marketing initiatives. Dunkin' Donuts is a wonderful partner with us. They had their iced coffee day in May, and 50 cents for every iced coffee that was sold was given to the Children's Hospital. We raised $55,000. That's a lot of iced coffees. Yeah. Cumberland Farms does the same thing for us. Again, in August, they do a chill zone where we get a nickel for each chill zone sold, and that raised $17,000 this past year.
Most people start their day with a coffee or something like that. So these are good partners to
Right.
team up with, because how can you go wrong with that?
People are going to
right?
be getting it anyway, and then they just feel that much better to know that their donation is going to the children.
Specifically, the duties of the VP of Donor Relations. What are her day-to-day activities like? I would imagine it's very different on any given day, right?
It is.
But that's what probably
Yes,
makes it exciting.
That's the great
right?
part of my job, yes. Because we also have an annual fund where we do direct mail. We send out 5 different solicitations a year, so we work on that. The donor relations team is primarily events and cause-related marketing, but we do all of the communications for the foundation, all of the investment opportunities.
What else is on the website? Obviously, all those great events that are coming up are on there, but what else is there for people to see?
We have our list of donors. We also have a list of our investment opportunities. Right now we're raising money for our Center of Procedural Excellence, so it explains exactly what that is. We have sort of a who's who about the foundation. We have a lot of patient stories to inspire people, because we had at our Vie for the Kids last Saturday night, we had a 17-year-old girl who's recovered from leukemia, who's now at Springfield College, and she was so articulate and so emotional, and the connection she has with her caregivers is very, very inspiring.
That is fantastic, because let me tell you, you can quote as many statistics as you want,
Exactly.
but the thing that keeps people tuned in to what you want them to know about is when you tug at the heartstrings of the viewers, and that's
Absolutely.
by a girl telling her story. That's exactly what you're doing, and that's what makes people want to get involved. Whether it's you know, we talked about financial donations. What about volunteers? Do you ever need them for anything?
We absolutely do.
Yeah?
Just about every event does.
What kind of abilities would they need to be? Can you just need anything? Someone pouring water, anything like that?
It runs the gamut.
Yeah, is that right?
It absolutely runs the gamut. We this weekend we're at the Eversource Marathon, and we have volunteers. That we have over 40 volunteers, and they're going to be helping out. We're part of Team Connecticut, and so they'll be helping out with packets, giving the racers their packets at water stations. At our events such as the gala, we need volunteers to help during our auction to act as spotters throughout the room.
Okay.
There's
So
something for everyone.
it is. It does
Absolutely.
run the gamut. So not only financial support, but also volunteer support. Always looking for that. And I would imagine they can go to the website if they want to get involved with volunteering. We'll put the graphic up on the screen of the website so you can go to it as we take one more break and come back. I'm Sean Murphy. This is For the Record. Stay right there. So we are just about out of time. I want to give you the opportunity to give out the website one more time. And people, you want to get involved because of course you're going to know somebody who's been touched in a way where the Connecticut Children's Medical Center and Foundation will be able to be there for you, right?
Absolutely. I just want to say thank you to all of our donors. It's whether you're giving at the $5 level, the $500,000 level, your gift is really impacting the care that our caregivers are able to give to the children and families that come to Connecticut Children's Medical Center. And I invite you to learn more about the Medical Center and about the Foundation by visiting www.connecticutchildrensfoundation.org.
Doreen Tarascio, VP of Donor Relations. It's a pleasure having you on the show today. We learned a lot today, so thank you for being here.
You're very welcome.
You can
Thank
see
you.
this show and many others on our YouTube sites. Until next time, I'm Sean Murphy. This is For the Record. Take care.